Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. The topic for today is virtual teams. Now, as always, if you're interested in reading articles rather than watching videos, first link in the description will take you to our official website, PMCLounge.com. It's a direct link to the article on virtual teams. So do check that out if you're not into watching videos. But if you're into watching videos, you'll like the second link much better because that takes you to the entire playlist of every single video that we have done on resource management knowledge area. So that being clear, that being said, let's get started and understand virtual teams. Is that a tool? That's a very valid question because virtual teams show up under tools and techniques of resource management knowledge area. And I'll share the PGKA mapping in a while on this slide itself. So stick with me here. But is that a tool? Yes and no. Why? Because the way virtual teams aid in project delivery, you will see how it can be termed as a tool because it is very, very helpful. Virtual teams are very, very helpful, and that is why they can be termed as a tool as well. But on the other hand, the flip side of this is the sheer usage of tools, right? Specifically communication tools that you need to use makes to make virtual team possible, right? To cover all those tools, maybe you can call virtual teams under the category of tools and technique itself because of the sheer usage of the tools, like I mentioned. So let's look at the PGKA mapping here. So we are talking about acquire resources process under the executing process group, resource management knowledge area. One of the tools and techniques of acquire resources process is virtual teams. So it is only because of technology that we today have virtual teams. Because if you go 20, 25 years back, there was no concept of virtual teams because our communication tools weren't advanced enough. Now, with the possibility of virtual teams, we now have new possibilities that aid the acquire resources process. And we'll look into some of the examples as well later on. But for now, you need to understand how this has opened up a new dimension altogether for the acquire resources process. So what is the definition? The definition of virtual teams is that virtual teams are basically groups of people with a shared goal. Now, these people fulfill their roles with little or no time spent meeting face to face. This is the whole concept of virtual teams. No face time, they did not meet face to face, but it is a group of people that have a shared goal, and that could be project delivery, of course. Now, communication technologies such as email, audio conferencing, social media, video conferencing, and others have made virtual teams feasible. These days, we even see the use of virtual reality when it comes to virtual teams. A quick reminder before we move ahead, if you're looking for your PMP preparation book recommendations, head over to pmclounge.com/resources. That is where we have listed our most favorite PMP preparation books. Now, thanks to virtual teams, it is now possible too. Some of the advantages of virtual teams here are number one, form teams of people that work different shifts or from home offices, right? So, remote offices working from home, folks like those can also be part of the team, right? People that work in different shifts can also be part of the project team. Include SMEs, the subject matter experts, or people with special expertise, even when they are not in the same geographic area. This happens a lot of times, specifically in IT projects where you have people working from around the globe. People who are SMEs or are experts are in high demand and they may be situated anywhere in the world, right? But they can be part of a project team. Number three, move forward with projects that would have otherwise held or cancelled due to travel expenses. Travel is definitely expensive. Business travel is even more expensive. And to have a project canceled just because of travel expenses is a foregone case that does not happen anymore because of virtual teams. Include people with disabilities or special abilities or mobility limitations, right? So self-explanatory point here. This is an advantage of virtual teams. Save organizational expenses of office facilities and physical equipment as well. So when people are working remotely, when they are working from their homes, it is possible that they do not need the physical equipment of the organization. They do not need the office facilities, right? So organizational expenses are being saved. So these are some of the advantages of virtual teams. All right, now let's look at some of the challenges of virtual teams. And the first challenge that tops our list is definitely the time zone differences. And now, if you are working in the IT industry, you know what I'm talking about. You have people joining in from US. US itself has several different time zones. Then you've got people joining in from India, people joining in from China, Europe even. So to find out a time that suits everyone for a team meeting itself is a big challenge. Second is following project's ground rules for communication. Now, establishing the ground rules for project communication itself is easier when you have people at a co-location. You know, when you see people face to face, sit down in a meeting room and come up with the ground rules, it is easier for the team to follow it because they know how serious the situation is as compared to communicating the ground rules to someone who works remotely. Conflict resolution protocols, of course, FaceTime is very, very important when it comes to resolving conflicts as compared to speaking to someone over the phone or over audio conferencing, even video conferencing. Inclusive decision making. Now, a lot of times people in virtual teams do not feel inclusive when it comes to decision making. It could be a challenge with communication, it could be a challenge with putting across their own point. But since they are working remotely, some people in virtual teams may feel that their views are being neglected when it comes to decision making. In fact, let me know in the comments, has it ever happened to you? Have you ever observed this? That not 100% of the people working in virtual teams feel inclusive of 100% of the decisions of the project. Understanding cultural differences, of course, very, very important. Some of the colloquial language used in one part of the world may not ring a bell to the folks living on the other side, right? So understanding cultural differences, there are definitely differences when it comes to countries, and understanding them, respecting them is one of the challenges people often face when it comes to virtual teams. Finally, for the question of today, let's do something casual. Do you have any funny experience about your virtual teams, right? Have you ever had a funny experience in a virtual team meeting? Because of the challenges that we just talked about, sometimes they do create funny situations. Let me know in the comments if you have any such experience. So that is all that we had in this video. Do hit the like button. It keeps us motivated and it helps us create more free content for you. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you haven't done so already. And as always, don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource. Also check us out on our social media. PMC Lounge is our handle on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you.